Welcome to the Vibrant You Health Show with your host, Blake Bars. At Nature's Pantry, our mission is to lead you to vibrant health through the best nutrition, supplementation, service, expertise, and healthy choices. In this show, we aren't interested in fads or quick fixes. Rather, we want to get into the holistic fundamentals of health. We want to answer questions like, what are the underlying causes to health issues, and what solutions can help lead us to vibrant health? You can watch every episode and listen to the podcast by visiting our website at naturespantry.life. The Vibrant You Health Show is brought to you by Terry Naturally Vitamins and Solar Ray Vitamins. At Nature's Pantry, we strive to work only with companies that maintain the highest standards for quality and efficacy. Terry Naturally and Solar Ray are two of the absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. I need to introduce myself one more time. Okay, Lasa Baxter, holistic nutritionist. My company is Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. I provide personal training, lifestyle coaching, holistic nutrition, behavioral health, like accountability, things like that. And then I also work as a trainer part-time at Mountain Valley. My full-time position is for the state of Oregon, and I work with school-based health services there. I want to talk to you a little bit today, and I'm going to toot my own horn just for a second, or at least it's going to look like that. I'm going to give you a little bit of highlight reel. I own my own business, 2 of them. I own my own car. I own my own house. I have no debt. I have a little bit of money saved in the bank. I'm getting married next weekend. I'm a state championship coach. I'm pretty healthy, right? Okay, so that sounds like, kind of arrogant or whatever. I mean, tooting your own horn a little bit, but I want to tell you that because I want to tell you that goal setting and spending time really developing solid processes helped me get there from a completely different place. $140,000 in debt between student loans, credit cards, all the things. I turned 50 in July this year, and I'm getting married for the first time in my life. Lots of relationships that didn't quite get there. I lost 3 state championships before I won one. The list is long, but it isn't without some serious diligence in being very laser focused on what my goals were that got me there. And I want to share with you one other thing. I feel like if I would have known or utilized some of the things I'm going to share with you guys today, I would have been there a lot faster. I really believe that. I believe that some of the things I didn't know to do or know to access, I kind of fumbled around more than maybe I had to. So learn from other people, learn from their process, learn from their mistakes, learn from their experiences, and hopefully you have some good takeaways today. And I have one thing to ask of you guys, and that is, promise me today you're going to really participate. Can you guys make that promise? That you're going to fill out this goal sheet today, and it's going to be something that you walk out the door with, that's ready to go, that you can continually revisit and revisit. And so that's the one thing I need you to participate today. It means like if I ask questions or if I call on you, or please, if you're comfortable, participate. I don't know what you guys are seeing, so let me make sure. Let me start with this. You guys are not just here by happen chance. You were designed specially to be here to accomplish and do big things. And that looks different for every one of you. To accomplish big things, big dreams, your body must be in a condition that allows you to perform under the demand that it takes mentally, physically, and emotionally to meet those goals, to meet those dreams. And I want you to, this sentence that's up here that's in bold, I want you to read it and then reread it. If your body is not prepared to serve you in the pursuit of your dreams, your own neglect will run interference on your life's purpose. I believe that your goals and your dreams are not things that are just, again, by happen chance. I believe that they've been planted as seeds that are specifically unique to you, that you're supposed to bring to fruition and to be involved with in your communities and your families and things like that. They're things that you're supposed to accomplish. And so those things that are planted on your heart, whether they seem crazy, outlandish, I want to be pink on a stage, or whether it's I want to be a better mom, or whatever it is, those things were uniquely planted as seeds in your life, in your heart, and they are meant to happen. And I want you to meet those things. So I want to tell you that if you're neglecting your body, it's really hard to meet other goals in any area, whether it's, mental, spiritual, whether it's physical. So how you treat and care for your body matters. What you consume is what you become. So who you spend your time with, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you consume is what you become. So make sure you're spending your time by investing and budgeting time for you in your schedule so that on worthwhile endeavors. One of the things that I learned way too late in life was budgeting. And I learned it, financial budgeting. And Blake said, and I told you guys, I have 3 or 4 jobs that I'm running all the time. If I do not also use those same budgeting skills for finance in my personal life to create and budget time for me to meet my own goals and to do the things that I need to do to make myself happy, then I never get there, because that time gets filled with somebody else asking me to do something, or, and I'll tell you what, when you start to get really proficient in certain areas, you get asked to do more and more and more and more and more. And it's hard to say no, because you want to help, but you'll leave yourself dragging. So if you don't prioritize your own health by budgeting time for you so that you can say no to other things, that's going to prohibit you from moving forward. We went through the pandemic and we realized life's short. Time's going to pass no matter what. So why not be moving towards your goals right now? Having a sense of urgency. Knowing that you aren't guaranteed tomorrow. So let's get moving. Let's get going. I want you guys to start feeling this intense feeling of, I need to get on this. There needs to be a sense of urgency. There needs to be an attachment emotionally that you are just not happy with the way things are enough, that you are unwilling to live with it the same way that it is right now. And that can be in health, that could be in fitness, that could be in, your skill set, all kinds of things. But I want you to think about that while we're moving through this. So let's get started. Sometimes, and I want to touch on a few things before we get to the practice of this, but sometimes when you're trying to build goals and dreams, people let fear seep in. Fear of failure. Oh, I don't have the skills. Oh, I don't have I don't know the right people. And it's too hard. Is that really reasonable? Is that really attainable? And what I want you to think about is, when you're writing your goals down today and you're brainstorming later in part of the practice that we'll do, think huge. Think humongous. Think no barriers. Put no parameters on this. Think big. One of the things that tends to bleed in and create fear is past experiences. And our past experiences can either frame our present and future to where you're headed with these goals and dreams, or you can take your present, and in the present right now, you can reframe the things that were tough that happened to you in your past as assets right now. And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about some of the things that happened to me. My dad had kind of some undiagnosed things probably 30 years ago. He's been life flighted 4 times. I've thought I would lose my dad a dozen times. His health has suffered for years, and watching a parent suffer and be in pain and uncomfortable and miserable, who is just a fantastic person, is an awful thing. And that could have been something that I felt victimized by or whatever. instead, I took deep dives into how do we avoid becoming like that? How do we avoid living that way? How do we avoid suffering? How can I help other people not be in that same position? So I've reframed things that have happened in my life to be reasons why I'm being successful where I am today. And I want you guys to think about that. So when you think about past experiences, think about being present right now. You have the opportunity to reframe them to be an asset. Are those experiences making you bitter or better? So if you're focused on those things being a liability, I want you to kind of get that out of your way. Stop blaming it and learn to reframe it, that it's a positive thing. Okay, a couple things. Pathway thinking. Pathway thinking is continually asking yourself, is this the most effective way? Is what I'm doing the most effective way? Is there a better way? Is this just something I already know because I've done it before, and so I kind of just keep doing the same thing? And you might be trickling towards the goal a little and then slide back or whatever, but is it the most effective way? Most of the time, there's about 80% of what we do. We'll set goals that aren't high enough, they're not big enough. And we'll set them kind of mediocre-ish, so we end up relying on skills or pathways or experiences we already have had, which doesn't allow us to grow. So what I want you to think about when you're setting goals is what's really, really effective. And we're going to hang on to what we call the 20% because that's what's really effective. And we're going to let go of 80%, and we're going to learn a new 80%. We're going to experience, we're going to gain from somebody else who has knowledge in that area. We're going to talk to an expert. We're going to take a class or read a book or do whatever we need to do, but we're going to move outside of everything in that 80% that we've previously known, because that's going to help you move what we call 10xing, or 10 times faster getting traction towards the goal. So if you've been creeping, let's speed that process up by looking at what's most effective. Okay. Couple things, time wasters that might have been getting in your way before. Just plain old spending time on the wrong things. So again, ask yourself often, what actions will get you closer to the goals the fastest, and then adjust where you're needed. Here's mine. This is a weakness, people. Being unfocused while trying to implement effective actions. And what is an example of that? Multitasking, rushing, not being like in what people call your flow state, not being calm and present. And, I have better times of the day where my brain is just more bright, more functional, I'm more present, and times that I'm just, by the end of the day, and so if I need to learn something new, I should optimize like the time that I'm going to do that, right? So just think about those kind of things. I tend to be a rusher, rush, go, do, fit it all in. And then it's hard to kind of maximize and be your most present self in those moments. So think about how to be more focused. And then not setting goals big enough. So many people set goals that are kind of, they're down here. And then again, we talked about this, but you rely on past experiences and skills you already have, so you don't really have to learn anything new, and that doesn't really perpetuate growth as fast as we can make it. I want to just pause real quick. Do you guys have any questions? Because I'm kind of flying here. I want to make sure that this is all stuff that's sinking in for you, and then we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. And I'm going to ask you to start participating here in a second. So you're going to need pen and paper. You can flip your SMART goals sheet over, which would be great because then you have the information on one side. And what we're going to do is we're going to really work on getting hyper-focused on how do we get to the goals that you want to write down, and what we're going to kind of take away from this today so you have something that you're leaving with. This is just a quote I like by James Clear. It says, in a world where information is abundant, and think about our world where it is crazy, you have access to more free information than imaginable to learn. The real advantage is knowing where to focus. So that's where we're taking you today. Okay, so step one, this is what I want you to do. I want you to kind of try to get yourself in a calm or zen or flow state or whatever you guys call it, but just take a few big deep breaths. And I want you to really envision what are your big goals and dreams. And I want you to think about, like, what's your purpose? What's your mission here in this life? And I want you to tie that to the goals and dreams. I want you to think about, man, what am I both passionate about? And what is there in my life? What one area or what one thing in my life is something I want it to change. And I'm uncomfortable with it the way that it is enough that I feel compelled to make a change, whether that's in your community, whether that's your personal life, with your relationships, whatever that looks like. And I want you to brainstorm up to 5, no more than 5. Take just a couple of minutes to do that. So if you guys are watching this video later, you want to have a piece of paper and a pen, and you want to write down some big ideas for dreams, goals, mission, and then we'll kind of hone those in and make them more specific in a minute. If you don't know, okay, so for example, for me, I have discovered that, my purpose or my mission is definitely to help support a change in our community, and not just our community, but our world, our nation, in helping provide information and education that maybe isn't out there about how to be well, how to remain well in a wide variety of ways. That's just one of the things. But that's kind of my mission. So what does that look like for me? What do I need to do? One of my goals last year was to collaborate more. Here I am. Have more speaking events. Here I am.
Questions that were helpful. Some questions that were helpful for me, like Lasa's saying, in writing your mission is, like, what are my unique skills and strengths that I've been given? Like, what did God make me for that nobody else on the face of the planet can do? Because we each were made for something specific. And just looking at what your talents are, looking at what your skills are, looking at where you've been put, geographically, socially, those were helpful things for me.
Think big, you guys. We're going to hone this into being like a goal that can help get you there in a second. But these are like kind of the big overarching things. It can be anything. How are we doing, everybody? Does everybody have at least one, maybe 2 written down? Anybody not have enough time to get at least one good thing down? If so, I can help. Okay. Here's where you promised, right, that you were going to participate. So, who has, like, maybe top 3 they'd be willing to share? Or even just one that they'd be willing to share? Okay, I'm going to let you.
To be a better, more loving, supporting wife and companion to my husband.
I like that. Does anybody else have one that they would like to share? I might call on you. Danny?
I want to be an elite athlete.
I love it. Anyone else? This is really helpful because this is kind of going to help you guys, all of you, get to thinking later when I come back to these things. Jen, do you have one? Would you be willing to share?
Well, I have a couple. I actually did this exercise earlier today. But I want to lose 25 to 30 pounds. And part of that is just being overall healthy. Because, I want to live a long time, see grandkids and that kind of stuff. So I'm an older parent, and so that's one big thing. And we have a plan to build a new home on our property in Ambler, so I'd like to focus on that as well, get that ball rolling again. Yep.
Those are exciting. Anybody else want to share? Blake.
We got the front row done. We'll just keep moving on back.
I'll make more eye contact with you guys.
I have to build a world-renowned health food store, health food cafe, and health institute. And there's more to it, but
I fully support that. You guys, amazing. I want to be an elite athlete. What does that look like? I mean, I picture it. I picture how buff and just furious and amazing that looks. I picture it. And I want you guys to use that. I want you to use imagery when you're setting this. I want you to really get kind of pumped up, juiced up. I want you to think about this in a way that gets your juices flowing so that you're excited about this. This isn't like, oh, I have to lose 25 pounds. No, this is something that I want you to be so excited about, because why wouldn't you be excited about? I'm going to lose freaking 25 pounds, people. I'm going to own a health food store. I'm going to be famous. This is a big deal. And if those things were planted on your heart, they were planted there for a reason. They were meant to happen. And I want you to know, like what I said earlier about like 10xing your goals by kind of getting rid of the 80% and focusing on a new 80%. I also want to stipulate this. Your goals, they never expire. If I wouldn't have continued to be persistent with mine, I wouldn't be right where I am. So they don't always happen on the timeline that you want, but you have to be consistent and stick with it. But I'm hoping we get a little more traction. Okay, so your next step is this. Take the things that you wrote down, and then I want you to really narrow them down. I want you to think, which one of these things like weighs on me the most? Which one's the highest priority? And I want you to reorder them if they are not in the right order, and put the one down that like excites you the most, weighs on you the most, you feel the most sense of urgency about, that you like, it's got to happen. Okay, so next step 3. What I want you to do now is like, you've got your overarching goal. So I want to use a couple of you as examples. So if the overarching goal is like, I want more God in my life, or I want to have a better relationship with my spouse, cultivate a better relationship there, or I want to lose 25 pounds, like what are the 3 actions you can think of right now that are going to get you to that point? So this is where I want you to actually get more specific. It's pretty vague to say, and I'll give you an example. I was doing a workshop like this for the ground firefighters, and one of the men in the room said, I want to be a better dad. And I was like, wonderful. What does that look like? Because being a better dad is very vague, and I don't know what that means. What does it mean for you? And so we really broke it down, and we got to the point where we said, okay, what does that look like for you? And he said, spending more quality time. I said, how? And he said, reading with my daughter. And I said, okay, when? Where? How long? What days? Are you following me? You cannot just say, I want to lose 25 pounds and it's somehow going to happen. You have to have a pathway that is carved out. And then you've got to reassess it and reassess it and reassess it along the way to make sure it's the most effective, because it might start you there, but maybe we found a more effective path and we move this way. So, but I want you to start somewhere. And so let's like write down 3 things you think that you need to do. And one more thing, think about in reverse order. So what are the things like I don't have now, or that I need to know now, or skills I need to obtain, or time I need to budget, or money I need to budget, or whatever that is in order to get me here? So instead of relying on the things you already know, like what are the things you don't have or haven't done that need to get you there? And you want to write 3. Just a reminder, you're not letting any barriers in the way. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. My husband won't support me. My kids take up all my time. I don't have any more time in the day. They won't eat that. This is like a no excuses, no barriers. I don't have the skill set. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to start. Get them out of your way. How are we doing, you guys? Does anybody need any help? Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
All right. So in order to build a better relationship with my husband, I know that, so he's 12 years older than I am, and so he's retired, whereas I am not. So he does little things around the house that, I know I need to show that I appreciate more. And then, but just being able to then build a closeness instead of a space. So, so I guess like we've been married 18 years, and you start out here, but then as time goes, pretty soon there's this big canyon, for a better word. And so now it's like, okay, you're here and he's here, so then how do you move closer? Especially, so how do you move closer without really saying, hey, we need to be closer and you need to start doing something?
So have you thought of an action? Like, do you have an action that you think that stands out in your mind right now that you think will take you closer?
Well, telling him that I appreciate the things that he does. Like, I appreciate that you take the garbage out. I did, because he's been gone for 5 weeks. He's been in Germany. So I've had to take the trash out. I've had to do the dishes. I've had to vacuum the floor.
It's a really good reminder to have gratitude, isn't it?
But then I know that, so then outside of that, but it's so, we have computers. He's on his computer, I'm on mine. So then it's like, I know that I need to decrease the distractions. Okay. So then maybe one action goal would be to say, hey, come join me on the couch and let's watch a movie.
So let's get really specific. So we have to get out of vague zone, guys. And we have to be very, very specific. So one of hers would have been like words of affirmation, gratitude, being grateful, showing that you appreciate him, showing appreciation. And one of them would have been inviting him into your space to join you in activities, quality time. So those are still really big.
Yeah, they are.
Right? So that won't work. I'm just telling you. So pick one thing, and like I said, that might change. He might go, I don't want to do that. So you might not be the most effective path, but you're going to start somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to pick one of those things, and we're going to get hyper-focused on one thing. It's important to pick one thing at a time, or you'll get in your own way, I promise. So when you do this, I want you to think, what was your name? Annette. I want you to think, which one of these things do I think would get the most traction the fastest? What is his love language? What does he need from you? Does he want to hear those words of affirmation? Or does he want that quality time with you? What would bring you closer together? And so those two things, like for both of you. So that's what I want you to do, is really hone in on, well, which one of those things would it be? And then let's focus on that one target thing. Real quick, does anybody else have one that they want to share, like action steps, like something that they wrote down towards their goal?
I don't want me to. Okay, that's what I thought. So I did cook healthier meals and dinners, like really just cook more dinners in general for my husband and my son. And so my 3 actions were like do research, and then I put Pinterest because that usually motivates me and stuff, and then plan ahead. So they kind of are all the same, but yeah. So I think, honestly, like pinning things on Pinterest will be a good start for me, and then like planning ahead with like groceries and recipes and stuff.
I'm going to give you a suggestion. Okay. Since I work with nutrition clients all the time, I think the first thing would be, if I was to prioritize, I would say prioritize first putting in a budget of time for the day you're going to shop online or in Nature's Pantry. Or online at Nature's Pantry. And then budget the day that you're going to pick it up, and budget the day you're going to prep it. And so the Pinterest piece can be, that's where you're going to look for. And if I want to ask you, is that the best place to find the recipe? Not sure. But that's a place to start. So think about, like, you need the recipes, you're going to shop for the recipes, and you have to budget time. If you don't put it in your calendar, it will not happen. Do you guys all have a calendar? You keep a calendar? You keep a Google calendar, a paper calendar, something calendar? Budget the time. So pick the recipes, figure out what the ingredients are, shop the ingredients, and then budget the time to pick them up, and then budget the time to prep it. And then make sure that becomes part of your routine, your processes, your systems, okay? Jennifer, did you have one that you were going to share? No?
Well, now she said that. So definitely prepping for meals is a good one. And but also one of the things for me, I think that's getting up earlier and getting in there in the morning. So setting my alarm clock earlier, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Because once I get that going, that will help budget my time for other things.
See, that's that's closer to where I want you guys to go. More simple. So she's kind of gone through the path of, like, I need to get cardio in. How do I do that? I need to get up earlier. What do I do to get up earlier? I set my alarm for earlier. What else do? You put out every single thing you need for that cardio the night before you get to bed earlier. What do you do before that? You turn off your phone a half an hour earlier, an hour earlier. You get in bed and read a book instead earlier. You talk to your husband, spend quality time earlier. Like, start thinking this way about your habits and your processes, okay? What I want you to do in step 4 is really just take all the things you've written down and go, what's first? And then when we get in the SMART goals, which is pretty quick here, you're going to see how important it is that you have, like, very specific information. So it's funny, like what we were talking about, preparation is key. It's one of my slides. Stop worrying about how long it'll take. Stop worrying about, like, if you're doing it all perfectly right. If it's the exact right thing, just go. Go do it. Get started. Time's going to pass either way. And the more time that passes, the farther you are away from that goal. Do hard things. Do them often. Often. Repetition, repetition, repetition is key. The more repetition, the more ingrained they become, the more they become part of who you are. And it just becomes part of your lifestyle. And it doesn't become hard anymore. It doesn't become a challenge like you're in right now anymore. It just is who you are. And that's my life. And Blake's life, like, he introduced himself earlier, and it's like, these are things that have been layered and layered and layered for years and become who we are. I didn't start this way. Holy moly. My senior year of high school, I would bargain to guess how many Dr. Peppers I drank and how many York peppermint patties I might have eaten. And things that I did not comprehend as, I knew they weren't great for you, but I didn't know the consequences of, like, what that would do long term and what it was already doing to me then, to my health. Pair new habits that you're trying to form with things you already do that are in your daily routine. That's called habit stacking. So if I get up and the first thing that I do in the morning is I get up and I go pee. And right now I'm in a push-up challenge. If anybody wants to join that, we're doing 31 push-ups a day for 31 days in October. So a good time for me to add that is, like, paired with something that's already on autopilot for me. Brushing my teeth or going to the bathroom or whatever, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to go do my push-ups, because that's a reminder. So that's a good thing to do when you're creating these goals, is to habit stack for timing, and then determine the path of least resistance yet most effectiveness. So if your goal is to become stronger, for example, add the daily push-ups again to your routine, add them at a time that's ingrained. So that's path of least resistance. It's a good reminder. And then create balance. When you're doing all of this, you want to have what we call equanimity, which just means you have, like, evenness under pressure. So you want this to be something that is creating more balance in your life, creating more benefit. And then, so I want you to really think about, too, this is where I struggle. Sometimes your goals are around doing less. to be more effective. Saying no to some things that I don't need in there, that I need to weed out. Time on social media, time on watching a television, spending time with somebody who is not really supporting your life in a positive way. Those are things. So say yes to things that align with your goals, and try to align yourself with people that are doing that, and say no to things that don't. Okay, just a few quick things. If you haven't thought of things already, these are some habits, these are some goals that have some high rate of return, and they're very simple. Sleep 8 hours a day. Lift weights 3 times a week. Go for a walk every day. Save 15% of your income. Read every day. Drink more water and less of everything else. And leave your phone in another. At least flip it over, turn it to silent, flip it over so there's no light, yeah. Okay, guys, we're getting there. I said this a little bit earlier, I kind of just gave a little plug, but one of the things that you might be thinking about is if Blake's going to build a facility, if he's going to build a nutrition store, chain, whatever, if he's going to build a wellness facility, should he talk to somebody who's done it before? Maybe. Should he talk to somebody who knows about investments? Should he talk to somebody who knows how to run a grocery store or a chain or create a wellness center? So think about accessing people in your life that have been there before you and make an investment in that. A lot of people are willing to go get a tea with you or a coffee with you or sit down with you for 15 minutes of their time for free and spend time with you and teach you and educate you and get to know you and share how they got from A to Z and maybe have some really great information. And if it's not just something quick like that, maybe you want to sit down with a nutritionist. Maybe you want to make that financial investment with a personal trainer. Maybe you want to talk to a counselor. Maybe those are things that you want to do that are going to help benefit you. So don't reinvent the wheel entirely. Other people have gone ahead of you. Okay, eliminating the bad alone rarely works. So if you are eliminating something, you've got to focus on what are you replacing it with. And then this is the last thing before we get into the SMART goal template. How do we create a good habit? How do we break a bad habit? One, we need to be really intentional and use language. I will have this behavior at this time in this location. I will do this. And it's going to be specific. Habit stack, we already talked about that. Create an optimal environment. So make cues for yourself. I create an optimal environment by, when I do training, I set out the workout the night before. I create it the night before or the week before. And I set out all my equipment and I set out the clothes that I'm going to wear. And I get in bed a half an hour before I think I want to be asleep. And I do all these things. I put out the washcloth I'm going to wash my face with, the toothbrush, the toothpaste, and I do all these things because I'm preparing my mind and my body and my brain to say, I am ready to go. And it's creating less barriers for me to get up and go in the morning. Roll out. I need 5 minutes instead of 15. Wow, this is awesome. And things start rolling and snowballing, and then that becomes more and more and more. So make it so that your environment is optimal. Make it attractive. Make it something that you want to do, not just something you need to do, but that, man, you really want to do it. And then make it a community thing. Align with other people that are going to support you in this. Align with other people that this is normal for. So if you have people in your life that are creating friction for you towards goals, that are kind of impeding your ability to get there, go hang out with some women or men that want to do what you want to do and that are going to be like, rah, rah. Okay? Again, make it satisfying. Use reinforcement. Make there be a reward, for example, at the end of this. So even if you aren't the number one of the 125 or 122 competitors in this challenge, what's your reward going to be for you when you get to the end of this? Think of those kind of things. Okay, and then breaking the bad habits are like reducing your exposure to it. If one of the things that's contributing to you not being healthy is that you go through Starbucks drive-thru and get a triple latte cappuccino, blah, 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 with caramel drizzled on top, maybe drive a different route every single day for as long as you need to try to avoid it. Okay? And then prepare something else to put in its place that is healthful. Things like that. Okay? So, commit, and then make it unsatisfying. So many of you have probably heard of the Challenge 75 Hard, and I've done it a couple times. But I'll tell you what, when you tell the public that you're doing a challenge, and in 75 Hard, you have to do 2-a-day workouts, 1 outside, both 45 minutes, you can't drink alcohol, blah, blah, blah. You can't be at side A pounding a beer on the weekend. I mean, well, you can, but it doesn't look very good when you have a nutrition and wellness business and you're pumping that you have this challenge going on out there. And so creating accountability in your network, in your circle, in the public, whatever you need to do that will help you stay on track is huge. I'm kind of minded that way anyway. If you put a challenge in front of me, I'm like, I'm competitive enough. I really want to win it. So that for me works. Not everybody's minded that way. So find what works for you. Okay, and then replace your poor habits with good ones. Make sure you do that.
Hey, it's Nicole Haggerty, your holistic health and fitness coach. If you want to improve your health and life and get lasting results, you have to be the change you want to see. Let me help you be that change. Find me at NicoleHaggerty.com.
Hey, Eastern Oregon. My name is Justin Hernandez. I specialize in sports performance training for middle school, high school, and college athletes. My program goal is to optimize an athlete's potential on all playing surfaces. The Breakfast Club motto is creating elite athletes, but even better leaders.
This is Summer Steele of Body Seorsa. I am a licensed massage therapist and certified personal trainer. I work with bodies of all shapes, sizes, and abilities to help them live a fuller and freer life. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook under Body Seorsa, Body SAORSA, or contact me at 541-786-5245.
My name is Blake Bars, and I'm General Manager of Nature's Pantry here in La Grande. I had a terribly unhealthy lifestyle when I started working here. I just didn't know how simple and powerful healthy habits could be. Now I love being able to lead others to vibrant health here at the store, through the health show, and in the health challenges we host twice per year. Learn more at naturespantry.life.
Hey friends, Lasa here with Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. As a certified personal trainer and holistic nutritionist with 17 years of experience, I'm passionate about guiding others in their journey to wellness. I work in the areas of sports performance, group and individual fitness, personal training, behavioral and nutritional coaching, and gut biodome health and assessment. I'd love to help you feel good so that you can thrive and meet the purpose you were made for.
Tim James here, founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com and host of the Health Hero Show. After regaining my own health and having massive gut issues and surgery, I'm on a mission to help others do the same. If you're ready to make your health a priority, lose that weight, increase your energy, and just wake up and feel good, you can reach me at ChemicalFreeBody.com.
Okay. If you have written on your goals template, turn it over. And here's where we're going to just hammer down and get super specific so that you can leave here with something. Number one, pick what your number one was and write it in the section that says, what do I want to achieve? And then I want you to write down exactly why you want to achieve it. Good job, you guys. Thanks for participating. And I can see you all writing. I do not like her. I'm just kidding. This is super fun. So we did kind of the work before, you guys, to get to where, like, what was your main number one? What do you want to achieve? And then you have to write down why. So that's something new. Why? I want you to think, like, no one's going to be critical of you. No one's going to poo-poo on this. No one's going to think anything of it. No one's going to think it's superficial. Any of those things, get them out of your way. And then the third thing in the specific category is who is involved. So I know a lot of people are like, well, it's just me. no. Who's involved? Who else is going to be impacted by me doing this? Who else do I need to get involved that might create accountability or that might help me along the way? Like, who's involved in this process? And that's going to matter because that's going to help you along the way. So let's say, like, I'm going to kind of narrate an example. I want a better relationship with my husband. That's what I want to achieve. Why? I'm not satisfied with the distance that's between us now after 18 years of marriage. I want a closer, more intimate relationship. Okay, who's that going to involve? My husband and I. Maybe others. Maybe that involves a counselor. Maybe that involves, like, taking a class together. Maybe that involves Olivia Weston's giving you guys a dance class. That's really close and up close and personal and would create some time together, right? Okay, so the next section is measurable. And we want to know, like, how am I going to measure my progress? So this is where you need to get really specific. With the action plan that you had, the one thing that you prioritize, you need to figure out with that action, you need to write it down first. So what the action item was. So if that was like for Jennifer, it was like, I'm going to set my alarm clock for 30 minutes earlier. How many days a week? What's the amount of time? So for her, it was 30 minutes. Let's say she's going to do that 5 days a week. 5 days a week, 30 minutes. What time? She's going to put that on the calendar. She's going to put that in her alarm so she sets an alarm up that way. Who's she going to be accountable to? How's she going to be accountable? So if she starts to go, I'm going to turn the alarm off. Is she going to get somebody to be like, you're getting up. Poof, push her out of bed. I mean, what's she going to do? How's she going to get there? Who's going to help her with this? I like the 3, 2, 1 launch method. That's helped me a lot. And I just get up. I'll let my alarm clock go off and I count 3, 2, 1 and I get up. And the reason that works is because it is a process that before your body can procrastinate, it interrupts a brain function that allows you to just go, okay, I'm going. But if you get past that 3, 2, 1, it could turn into 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Okay. Does anybody need help so far or anyone have any questions so far? Okay, achievable is the next section. How are you going to know if your goal is achieved? So what's the end result you're looking for? This is where you really need to be specific because in the end result, in the relationship situation, it's like, well, what does that look like? How do I know my goal is achieved? And then how will you make it clear when the goal is complete? So will you reward yourself? Will you announce it? Will you have a conversation with your spouse about it? Well, how will you determine that it's been achieved? And is it reasonable to complete the goal in the time allotted? And why? So that's something that you put down, like, I want to achieve this 25-pound weight loss in 6 months. Is that reasonable? Is that too slow? Is that too fast? What does that look like for you? So really, this is very, very, very specific, okay? Is everybody at achievable right now? Can I get hands? Participant, you promised me you would participate. Calling you out. Okay. We're at relevant now. Am I emotionally invested in this goal? I want you to be honest with yourself. Am I emotionally invested in this goal? Prove it. If so, how? How are you invested? And then how is this goal related to improving my personal wellness or success in other areas? Why? This is reinforcement, you guys. This is why we're going over these things. This is reinforcing. Why is this goal important? Why? How are you emotionally attached to it? And that's going to give you a little bit of a push getting out the door to get closer to it. And then why is the goal personally important to you? So those 3 things. Okay, last, time bound. So how long should it take you to accomplish this goal? You want to be reasonable. This is something that you want to really think, like, what's reasonable? And again, think big, think huge. Don't put barriers on don't put these shackles on yourself to hold yourself back. And then when will I check in on whether the goal has been completed, and who am I going to do that with? And then, am I ready to start work on the goal today? If I'm not ready, when's my start date? Just remember, when you're doing this is all about taking action, and taking action now. Prompt. I want you to do it right now while you're interested in it, while you're thinking about it, while you're putting in the time that you're putting in tonight. I want you to be really feeling motivated, encouraged, inspired to go now. But you have to take action. Why? Because the willpower, the inspiration, the motivation is fleeting, and it's going to be gone quickly. And so as you start to put in action, you have an investment, and then you become bound to it and tied to it because you have an investment, and then you see results. That helps perpetuate the cycle. So you've got to really start taking action quickly. I'll tell you, one of my goals was debt-free 2023. I made it. I did. I know. Thank you, Nicole. Blake brought it up in the beginning. So there's some pretty big goals like this. I told you guys $140,000. I can't even tell you how many thousands a month I was shoving at it. And how many things that I was thinking, man, I'm starting to look pretty shabby in my work clothes. Like, I could really use a few things that I have been putting aside. Like a few kind of necessities I could really use that I was prioritizing, like debts first. 3 years. That's a big chunk of money in 3 years. Do you know what it feels like for that to be gone? I can't even describe it. It's a very emotional experience. But I want you to think about, like, man, I drilled a plan in. I had an Excel spreadsheet. I knew how I was going to snowball this thing, and everything went at it. And for the first time, I was so ashamed of that I felt like I was smarter than that. I felt like I knew better than that. I felt like why did I do that? What was I thinking? I mean, just was kind of overwhelming. I didn't tell anybody for years where I was at. And it took me really being in the most vulnerable place of my life to step out of that and tell people so that I could have accountability. And it wasn't just accountability, but also so that they could be my champion and cheerleader behind me and really just help me get there. And it was a big deal because having a burden like that over you doesn't let you progress in a whole lot of ways. And I think those are the kind of things that I think about, like all of us, whatever it is that you have going on that you want to change. That was one of mine. Really get out of your own way. Step into being vulnerable and take action. Okay? Is anybody have one that's kind of complete that we could just share, like a comprehensive example? And then if there's any questions, we want to leave time for questions, and then we can get you guys out of here because I know it's a weeknight and it's getting late.
Okay. So mine was lose 25 to 30 pounds. That's what I want to achieve. Why do I want to achieve it? Because I want to be healthy and live longer so I can see my grandkids and enjoy my retirement. And I love hiking, and I've done some long hikes recently. And as I'm doing the hikes, I'm thinking, gosh, if I had that weight off, how much easier would this hike be if I wasn't carrying around 25 pounds of, extra weight? So, and I did those hikes, and I improved on them, and that was great. But I was like, wow, how much easier would this be? And who is involved? Well, me, of course. But my family, having them be supportive, and I want to be healthy because I want to set an example for my kids. And also help my husband be healthy. And I've been working with Angie on some other stuff. As I said, we did this exercise a little bit, not this exact exercise, but an exercise earlier today in our group. And then how will I measure my progress? Well, I'll probably weigh once or twice a week at home, but I also can be accountable elsewhere and weigh with Angie if I want to. And I'm also in that group, and we're accountable to each other. So it helps to have that group support. And I can also, my husband will also help me be accountable, as far as especially getting up, because he gets up early. So he can make sure I'm up but my goal has been over the last year in this group I've been working with is we don't hit the snooze. We just do the 3, 2, 1 launch. We get up. That's what I do. So I focus on that daily, getting up and not hitting snooze. So that's something I've been practicing a lot, and having a morning routine to launch myself into the day. So duration, amount of time committed daily. Obviously, I like the laying everything out at night because that's important, especially depending on what I want to do. I kind of want to go swim laps, at least for some of my days, because I love to swim. So that means being there hopefully at 5:30 when they open. So laying my stuff out, getting up at 5, getting myself there. So putting the appointments on the calendar. I try to keep my calendar up to date because I have a lot of things going on with my family. How will I be accountable, and to whom? I'm going to be accountable to myself, but my family also, and also to my group of women that support me. So we daily post stuff in a Voxer. So we post daily about what we're doing, and we hold each other accountable that way. So how I know if my goal is achieved, hopefully my weight will go down, but my fat percent and my muscle will go down and my muscle will go up, I hope. Other health things could go down. And 4 to 6 months. I'm not a kind of person that wants to drop the weight like fast and not be able to keep it off. I want to keep it off. And so I haven't really set the time frame, but, and then am I emotionally invested? Yes. I am, just because I know that's where I want to be. And, my parents my mom's 80, almost 83. My dad passed at 89. I want to be healthy and live that long. And I'm an older parent. So, I want to see my grandkids. I want to be around for a long time. So, how does this go related to improve my personal health? So when I do the exercise, when I'm doing my workouts, I feel better. But I also have other goals because I want to redo a hike up to the top of Eagle Cap. I've done that hike before, but I want to do some other hikes as well. And I also have goals to get back to doing a 5K or 10K run. So it will help me achieve those goals by being in better shape. And why is it personally important? Just to be healthy for my future retirement and my family, my kids. So how long will it take to accomplish? Probably 6 months, but then there's maintenance for life, So when will I check in on whether the goal has been completed with whom? So obviously I'll check in with myself, but my family, but also my group. And I said Lasa. I'll check in with Lasa.
I like it.
Yes. Am I ready to start working on the goal? Yes. My survey is going to be Monday, though, because I have a conference this week out of town, and it's going to be kind of difficult to add it in because I'm going to be driving to Pendleton every day. So, but anyway, so I said Monday, October 9th. That's it.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. I have some questions to ask you. So, your big goal is the 25 to 35 or to 30 pound weight loss, body fat loss. I'll say that. We don't want to lose your muscle. What I want you to think about is that's your big overarching motivating goal. But I want you to take this goal when you go home. I want you to kind of revisit this. And I want you to look at what one thing is going to move the needle the fastest toward that loss? Is it the group? Is it getting up to do your fitness? Is it, and I want you to really think this when you're thinking, what is it? I want you to think, what have I not yet tried that I'm saying is not a good time to start? I'm not ready yet for that. I don't have that skill set. I'm not really motivated by that. I want you to think, is this working? Is the group working? Maybe. Is the fitness working? I'm just going to give you this one little plug just because my experience is the number one thing if you want to change your body composition is nutrition, 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 nutrition. So I would, as a coach, say, start there. What does that look like? So I just want you to think, I'm not picking on Jennifer. I want you guys to think about like, okay, so there were still things in what she went through and she was very thorough, right? I want you to even be more specific. I want you to hone it in even more. I want you to think, okay, my overarching goal is that I'm going to have this weight loss, but the first thing that I know is going to work is going to be my nutrition, let's say. And what's that going to look like? Where am I going to go with that? Who am I going to work with? What am I going to eat different? How many meals a day am I going to eat different? What is that going to be consistent of? Be very specific. If you have done the same thing and you have not yet reached that goal and you've been doing, let's say I've been in fitness my whole life. But let's say I've still got that 25, 30 pounds. So I'm working out like crazy. I'm hiking, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing this. Is it getting you closer to the goal? It's not necessarily taking you away from the goal, but it's not actually helping you meet the goal. So I want you to really get honest with yourselves when you're doing this and look at what is it that I haven't yet tried, if you've been trying to do this for any time, and go, I need to do that. And if somebody says to you, well, you know, let's say I said to you as your coach, well, what about eliminating dairy first? And you were like, no. That's probably where you should start. If your response to something is to hang on to it for dear life, that's a really good clue as to where maybe you want to start. Okay? So just some suggestions, you guys. Does anybody have questions? I would love to open it up for some questions. I want to make sure you feel like you've got something tangible that you can take home that you can really kind of revisit and make sure that it's crisp. And if you have questions about this, please, in the Facebook community thing that we have for this challenge, like post the questions, ask the questions, put my name on there so I see it. It might not. But if you have things like you leave here and you go, well, what do you think about this? Like, let me know. And then also have a little bit of grace because I literally really am getting married next weekend. And so like if I am in crazy land, it might take a minute to respond. But I do want to help you and I do want to support you and I am here for you. I want you to succeed and I want you to achieve these big, huge, amazing goals. I really do.
I was just going to say, so nutrition is part of it for me, but I picked the easy thing because I know doing extra cardio has helped in the past. But I am going to be changing my nutrition too, but it's, I know this is the quick, easy thing I can start.
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. I'm going to call you out. Stop doing that. Stop doing what's easy. I'm telling you guys, sometimes you got to take the hard path and get in the grind and do the hard things, and then it does become easy.
Yes.
Put yourself in a position where you get to be vulnerable and uncomfortable, and then honestly, you guys, the reward it's so worth it. It's just worth it. At the end, if you went, okay, I decided to get uncomfortable and put the nutrition first, and all of a sudden it's like 2 months and you're at your goal. You 10x'd it. Are you going to be sad about that? No way. Right? Yeah. Anything else, you guys? I mean, like I said, I want to be able to help, so I don't want to leave anything undone for you tonight. I want to say thank you for being here. Yes. Not an end date, but you want to have a check-in date, so to speak. So you want to have a time in which you're like, I'm going to reassess, how am I doing? Am I meeting where I wanted to, am I where I want to be? And if you're not, then you want to reassess, okay, like, how can I be more effective this way? Like, what do I need to do differently? Because this wasn't working exactly. I mean, you're doing the right thing. You're getting a huge pat on the back because you're moving in the direction that you want to, but you're not quite meeting it that way. So you do want to have and I would say this, make sure you have check-ins pretty frequently. 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, like small check-ins in front of you where you reassess, like, where am I at? That doesn't have to be every day because that can kind of get in your head and that can be prohibitive. But I think if you really go, okay, like 2 weeks, like, am I on track? How many days did I nail this? So if your challenge was like, I'm going to have some Bible reading time, some scripture time, or I'm going to have some prayer time, and it's going to be 5 minutes, 5 days a week. I mean, I don't know what that looks like for you at 9 a.m. Then you want to keep a calendar, mark it off, look at it, and go back and reassess. Did this work? Was it advantageous? Am I achieving what I wanted to out of this? All of those things. So just kind of revisit it. And you're right, there are a lot of goals that are kind of like, I want to keep going. And then maybe when you reassess, you go, hey, I mastered it. So now how do I want to take that and steer that into something bigger?
Should we give Lasa a round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome. Good job. That was awesome. Great job. So, Lasa, that's amazing. I always enjoy that. I always learn a lot from it. I've been talking about some of these big goals for a while, so I think it's time to get my... things have been happening, but still, it's like, let's 10x this thing and figure out what's going to get it there. But it's not a chain, by the way. Not a fan of chains.
More than one? Just one?
No.
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to be world renowned, baby. Just right here in LG. So next week, Thursday night, we're doing a yogurt making class. This is from the book Super Gut. One of the things is gut health important?
Oh, you guys don't even get me started. I could do 25 seminars on gut health.
She's the queen of microbiome. So Nicole's nodding back there. She's like, oh yeah, gut health's slightly important. So I've been learning more about that. One of the things that we have in our world today is we have bad pathogens, bad bacteria, bad parasites, overgrowth, yeast, fungus, pathogenic bacteria, parasites, name it, and then we have the good bacteria is depleted. And so what we want to do is learn how to knock that bad stuff down and build the good stuff back up. Well, yogurt that you buy at the store, most places, is going to be loaded with sugar, and it's going to have been fermented for 3 hours. This yogurt that we're going to teach you how to make is going to be fermented for 36 hours and have several 100 billion probiotics. So it's going to be, I'm excited. I haven't learned how to make it. Tim's going to teach us. We just got the cultures on the shelf today on how to make all these. So I'm pretty excited about it. So next Thursday, 6:30.
That's so fun. What a fun workshop.
Yes, and it's going to be great. And you guys, thank you so much for participating in the challenge. I'm excited to get to meet more of you and get to kind of see how your progress goes. Please reach out if you need anything. And I'm proud of you guys for investing in these habits, because small habits lead to big change. Thanks, everybody, and have a good night.
The information provided in this show is intended for your general knowledge only and is not medical advice. If you have or suspect you have a specific medical condition or disease, please consult your healthcare provider. If your provider has a strong understanding of nutrition and holistic health, even better. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nature's Pantry.